She'll do right by you.
She won't make me look dumb.
No, she will not. So, can you tell me about a favorite memory of the church or an event related to the church?
Okay, so one of my favorite events that we used to do here at the church kind of goes around my favorite season of the church too, which is Christmas. And when I was younger, I was a big part of the bell choir, and I did youth bells, and then joined the adult bell choir, and then I've since joined after coming back from Morgantown. But one of the things we used to do at Christmas was before the Christmas cantata, we would always do a handbell concert. And so both groups would work on music for like months in advance. And I love Christmas music. So that's probably one of my favorite events, and one of my like top memories growing up is always doing the Christmas handbell concert.
Ah, cool. How do you think God has improved the world through this church?
So I know you wanted me to talk about mission work, but I really was planning on talking about that. So I really think that God has improved the world through this church by doing like a lot of the mission work that we do. So we do mission work, say, here in our local community by, people volunteer for man a meal, serve meals. We do the furniture mission here at the church where we go and collect the furniture and then give it to those who are less fortunate that might need something like that. The youth mission trips that we did, every summer when I was growing up, that was like one of the big things I always looked forward to, was going to different states, and then you meet strangers, and then you just work with strangers, but everybody has that one thing in common, that we're all here to serve God and serve others through our mission work. And then also the mission work in Haiti, I think, is just, there can't be enough stated about how great that mission is. And I'm so fortunate that I was able to be a part of that, because, now being in school for a healthcare field and getting to experience the healthcare of a third world country is something like completely different from anything that I've ever seen or experienced here. And so just kind of like having that appreciation for the people who set that up here, who allowed me to go on that, the church who, kind of helped finance my way to go on that trip, was just, it just still to this day just gives me chills thinking about being down there and seeing like the good that we can do to serve the people of Haiti, and then also helping them, telling them about the love of God.
I like that. How do you think your life's been improved by God by being involved in this church?
So not to harp too much on the mission work, but I think that has shaped me quite a bit. Musically, music has been like such a huge part of my life, and that really basically started in this church. When I learned to read music in this church, I learned to play the piano in this church. And then I've had all these, countless opportunities within the church to further my musical abilities through the music ministry that we have here. And then also just the relationships that you build with people here. You can have just a terrible week throughout the week, different things that's going on in your life that you're dealing with. But this is always like a safe haven. You can come here, just connect with everybody, recharge for the week, and then go out and do it all over again.
I like that. Describe, now some of this is kind of repetitive. You know how you ask, when you take a psych test or something, you ask the same question 50 different ways. This is one of those. So, describe some ways that you think God has worked through or is currently working through First Pres.
So again, I think I would have to, my initial thought for this was the mission work as well. Kind of like you said, it's going to be repetitive, but
okay. You don't have to say anything more.
Okay, yeah, that was that's kind of what I was saying.
Can you tell me one funny story about something that happened at the church?
Youth group here is funny every time we come together, there's always something that goes on that's funny that we always, relate back to, talk back about years later. One of the first things that popped into my mind when I was thinking about this one was when we would always get together for youth meetings in the youth room upstairs. We started getting the habit of filming videos of each other and like just doing like reenacting skits or different things like that. And one time we reenacted the scene from Home Alone where they're passing the bag down to Kevin. Do you know what I'm talking about? You have any idea? Okay, they're all in the airport. They pass this to Kevin, so we all get in a huge line and we're like going, pass this to Kevin, pass this to Kevin. And then I was the mom at the end and I just screamed, Kevin, like as loud as I could, and then dropped backwards out of the screen. And Lisa was filming and she couldn't keep a straight face like the whole time. Like she didn't hit stop quick enough. You can hear her laughing after the end. It was ridiculous. But that's probably one of my favorite youth group memories, which a lot of my memories in this church are of the youth group, obviously. But yeah, that's probably one of the better ones.
That sounds like fun. Describe a time or an event when you felt moved by God in an event.
Okay, so for this one, not really events that you want to remember too vividly, but I really remember when I was in 6th grade, my grandmother passed, and we had the funeral here, and there was, she was very active she worked for the Presbyterian, so she was very active. She knew, like, tons of people. There were, like, every pew was filled, like, up until that point, I'd never seen the church that full, so that was like, it was wild to see that many people in the church. And then when we sang hymns, it was the music, like, I guess there were just so many people who were so well versed in music as well that were there that, like, it sent chills down my spine to hear, like, the organ that loud, people singing so loud and everything. And obviously, like, brought me to tears multiple times throughout the service. But one of my favorite hymn, which was her favorite hymn, was Here I Am, Lord. And we sang that song at her funeral, and still to this day gets me every time. But that's like one of the, like a real strong memory for me. And then when my aunt passed away a few years ago, which was her daughter, we sang it at her funeral again. And then when we went to Haiti, the year I went to Haiti for the commissioning service, we sang it at that service. And that has always, like, obviously held a really deep place in my heart. But then to hear it that day when I'm, like, nervous about going on my first trip to Haiti, nervous about what it's going to be like, what I'm going to experience in this new, like, culture shock, right? But, like, just hearing that kind of, like, at least for the time being, put all my fears aside, and like I had like the strongest sense of peace about this trip, and I was like, it's gonna be great, everything's gonna be fine. I feel the presence of them here with me. It was really cool.
That's great. Is that a hymn you want me to choose to sing on Sundays or not choose to sing on Sundays?
I mean, like, it still stings sometimes, but no, I still love it.
Do you have something else you want to say to people about the church or to the people of the church?
This is the only one that I was like, I don't know what else.
Doesn't matter. You don't have to have an answer to it.
Okay, I'll skip that one.
I just didn't want to leave.
We're all great.
You know.
We're all great. That's what I said.